As I conclude, APSA is glad to continue partnering with you in this and many other ventures. Moreover, we are happy to get feedback on how to improve our products from yourselves, and I believe you also have feedback from your teachers that will be helpful for us to be able to reinvent our products and be able to serve you better as we go forward. I thank all the representatives from Kepsha and the leadership of Kepsha, with whom we have worked to bring this working relationship to life. I am very optimistic that we shall keep pursuing partnerships with a shared value spirit along the way. As I close, and I want to agree with the MC, and I strongly believe that head teachers have a special place in heaven. All teachers have a special place in heaven, and we have a special place for you in APSA Bank. And we welcome you all. Thank you very much.
If we believe, we say amen. Amen. Thank you very much, APSA Bank. Here, there's a lady holding a gift for you. Kindly don't leave it behind. If the young lady, the beautiful lady next to you can also come for the... It's good for optics to have your team with you. That side, please. That side for the photos. Kindly, sir. This side. And now, as they receive their gift from Kepsha, it's now my pleasure to recognize that our DG was here right on time. I've eaten up around 10 minutes, and I will donate 10 minutes so that he has his full time. And ladies and gentlemen, our Director General Ministry of Education has a panel that he has assembled himself personally. And I would like to call them one by one and then call him last. I'd like to begin with the name comes, I think it right now. Neria A. Director Price. Evelyn Owoko, are you in the house? Evelyn? Yes. Kindly take panelist number 4. Director Field Services, Hassan Duale. Ladies and gentlemen, realize that the DG has assembled quite a team. Panelist number 4, Margaret Mwandale, Director Teacher Education. Are you in the house? Oh yes, she is. And the last panelist, but not the least, is Director Schools Audit, Victoria Angwenyi, represented ably by a name I'm about to give you. Kindly. From school audit, so that the DG can do the moderation, because he's the chief moderator. Gina? Ifren. Nduru. And the name is Ifren Nduru. Let's welcome them. Let's welcome our panelists with clap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Elias Abdi. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to our DG. Karibu sana mkubwa. Let me have our microphones.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, Chairman Zoika, Committee, head teachers of our primary schools in this country. Good morning. Good morning once again. Thank you very much. So I just want to first of all start a few introductions before I go into the panel discussion. So my name is Elias Abdi. I'm the Director General, State Department of Basic Education. I think you are aware now of basic education. So I want you to be aware, it's part of the things maybe we'll be informing you here. So I will start first of all request all the Ministry of Education officials who are seated there to stand up, please. Those seated in the hall, just stand up. So we have a big team from the headquarters, because you know our role is to support you from headquarters, from the region, from the county, and also from the sub-county, isn't it? And we have come in a big way. So I will start on this side, the left side. We have Madam Ekirapa, the National Project Coordinator project. I'm sure you've heard of the PIL project. The Pride project ended, we have just initiated another one now, an equity-based project. Then next is the Regional Director for Rift Valley, Mr. Obiero. Please raise your hand. The officer next to him. From? Nairobi. Oh, this is Kiru. Kiru, the Regional Director, Nairobi. You know, in Nairobi, he usually puts on suits, so come on. Regional Director Nyanza, based in Kisumu, Mr. Sifuna. Followed by our host, Regional Director, Coast, Mr. Roble. Then the County Director, Mombasa, Mr. Magiri. Then Mr. Kungani, our Deputy Director of Education, Private Education, in charge of the Digital Literacy Program. Then we have Madam there, the Regional Director, Central, Madam Otieno. Then we also have the sportsman, Wambua. He's in charge of co-curriculum activities at the Ministry of Education headquarters. Please take your seat. There's a lady there from Directorate of Primary Education is also here. So we also have the Regional Director Eastern, Mr. Dr. Sugut, is also with you, because the exam is still going on, and therefore they will have wished to join you. Please, let's appreciate them. Thank you very much. Now I just want to go into the panel discussion, and our topic for today, if you look at your program, is providing quality primary education in the midst of emerging issues in the 21st century. This is a very important topic for us as a sector, providing quality CPC has come up with. When we talk about communication collaboration, when we talk about digital literacy, when we talk about citizenship education, when we talk about, creativity and imagination, these are the soft skills. So the 21st century today requires the hard skills and the soft skills brought together so that you are able to live a complete way of life. And over the years, when we talk about quality education, basically what comes into your mind? Us at the Ministry of Education headquarters, we have always been struggling to ensure that our schools receive the inputs that they require in order to get the right outcome. Inputs in the sense that we give the teachers, we give the books, we give the financial resource. We also ensure that at least our schools have the infrastructure resource. Those are the inputs. And these inputs are expected to be translated into outcomes. That is the impact of education, to ensure that we release citizens who can meet the 8 goals of education. Because you know very well that this country has 8 goals of education that we are to achieve. So when it comes to quality in education, it's about the teaching and learning materials. Every child in our schools today receives a textbook for all the subjects they are doing. Every child in our schools today has at least a number of teachers, although we have challenge in terms of shortage, but the government still gives teachers. And this panel will be discussing this. So in terms of also the curricula, we have availed. But the other thing I just want to also say is that the emerging issues, as a sector, we have always been also coming up with policies, challenges that we have been. In the recent past, we did develop, a policy on ICT in education. ICT in education, digital literacy. When we talk about digital literacy, we have a specific policy on ICT in education. Other emerging issues include child safety and security against violent extremism. We've developed a manual for our head teachers. We did develop a physical education and sports policy in the recent past. We developed guidelines for alcohol and substance abuse. You see, we cannot talk about quality education or providing quality education if our children are abusing drugs and so on. And therefore, we developed this guideline for our head teachers, for our teachers, so that you are able to refer to them and be able to use them as reference document to guide you on how to handle these emerging issues. Has come up with what we are calling school-based quality assurance. We want our schools to ensure that you become the first point of call when it comes to quality assurance issues. And those manuals are equally available. When we had this pandemic in the last 2 years, you remember very well that the sector also stood up to the challenge to ensure that COVID-19 emergency response plan is developed. Our country is one of the best in the world on the COVID response mechanism. We developed a COVID education response mechanism, which led us to successfully documents to ensure that gentlemen you can see behind me are the ones supporting you on day-to-day basis. So I will just first of all call them and give them each 5 minutes, strictly 5 minutes, so that they're able to tell you what they are doing in their particular directorates to give you the support that they require. Then thereafter, we'll have an open discussion, a question and answer session. So you are able to ask your question so that we're able to respond to it. We hope to move a bit faster to give enough time for the open session, which is also about to start. So with that, I will ask the host director, our director for primary education.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. All my colleagues who are with us here today. You've been told that I've been given 5 minutes. Indeed, it's 5 minutes. But I want to say that some of the challenges that we are facing in the 21st century, the issues that are emerging, that it is indeed something that was not there for us even to think of. In the primary level, especially among our students, it's now not uncommon for a head teacher, for a teacher to say that I've gotten a letter from a child threatening to take away their lives. And that is the norm each and every day of what is happening in our school. Those kind of things were never there when we went to school, or the emerging issues that are. So those are some of the issues that affects us daily. The other one is internet insecurity. Those are some of the things that now our ministry to ensure that we mitigate or we bridge the gap. One of the issues I want to say that as a ministry, we have moved forward to ensure that we have that integral part of our learning where we take care of each and everybody. DG has just talked of the policies that have been developed, I think by head teachers who are very, very much passionate and to ensure that the learners are taken care of despite that. How do we mitigate about the insecurity? We have local boarding schools, which the government has even enhanced the facilities, especially the boarding facilities. I want to appreciate so much because this is a darling to our Director General who ensure that we have at least a very, very friendly and accommodative boarding facilities in some of our areas where we have insecurity and therefore learners may not have opportunity to go to school. We also have the COVID pandemic that really affected us during the period, the 9 months that our schools were closed. We realized that some of the learners totally forgot where they were, and they didn't even know where they were going to. So what have we done as a ministry? I must appreciate our partnership with USAID and RTI. We came together and did found a program for them, which is called remedial learning. In the remedial learning, the learners run class 6 or 7, and this learner cannot even pronounce a word. I want to appreciate so much our teachers who have been in the pilot schools and the control schools. You've done marvelous work. Your work has really humbled us and has touched us. And this one has not only assist learners with needs that really need to be taken care of. A learner perhaps who may not be able to be in that school, but has been placed in that school because assessment was not done rightly. So we've been able also to place those learners in their various schools, especially schools where they will be given value here. But the process is on. We will receive them. Why? To ensure that our girls are in school. We all know that in one of the counties where we had the highest pregnancy rate, when we asked the girls what happened, then they say, when I go to my parents, the question is, do I buy myself? So what next? She goes to somebody who will ensure that she'll never have that problem for the next 9 months. And that is what has created a lot of challenges and problems to us. So by the time now we reach that transitional place, or in grade 6, we find that we've lost some learners along the way. So the government has mitigated on that by provision of the sanitaries. We are still working on it. The plan was to have each school now we develop through the school and the BOM an ICT lab in all our primary schools. That is our vision and it's our dream. And I think we did together so that we do not duplicate our role on ICT. Because as a government, we are very key on it, and we have moved to ensure that our schools are compliant on that. And of course, we know the role of ICT in our society today. Without ICT, indeed, we cannot move. I think my 5 minutes are over, DG. If you don't add me 2 more minutes, then I hang up.
Thank you very much. So Madam Olik is the Director of Primary Education, you are line director, and I'm sure most of you meet the staff there. I saw Mwangi here. Mwangi, are you around? Mwangi? Is Mwangi here? The officer in charge of need to increase the capitation? I think Olik hears that. But the reality is that providing CPC is more expensive, isn't it? Providing CPC is more expensive. And I remember your able chairman, Mr. Nzoika, presenting a memorandum to the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. And having looked at that memorandum, it had some content to that effect. Why don't you appreciate him? Yes, I think from reliable source, government is doing something about that. And you people are now aware, that the junior secondary school now will be domiciled where? Was it the right decision? Say it again. We are happy to hear that. And so up. Within the first 1 or 2 months, decisions have been taken, isn't it? Now, I want to call upon the Directorate of Quality Assurance. Quality assurance officers, you work with them throughout, in the country. And so I want the madam to come over and give us a picture on the state of quality assurance in our primary schools. She will give us a picture of that. Thank you. Come forward. 5 minutes.
Thank you, our Director General. I want to say that Susan Wajohi, the representative of Director Quality Assurance, Madam Evelyn Owoko. And we are looking at this quality education 21st century. And I want to say that quality assurance in the Ministry of Education is a function that is shared amongst organizations with a mandate on curriculum development. That means quality assurance is working closely with KICD in curriculum development. And again, curriculum assessment. Again, the Directorate works closely with Kenya National Examination Council and also teacher management, and that is under TSC. Now, in the Ministry of Education, in the interest of the emerging issues in the midst of 21st century, there are many changes, and therefore, as a ministry, there are interventions to ensure that quality of education is ensured. Directorate of Quality, this school has reached the end. There is always room for continual improvement.
To upgrade if use this, it is better.
It is better. Okay. So what we are saying is that the Ministry of Education ensures that standards are established, they are maintained, and again, they are improved. And in quality, we said there is no finishing line. Always there is room for improvement. As education managers, I am sure even if you do better, you are always looking forward evaluation, accountability, and continuous development in the education. In the interest of this, the Ministry of Education, through what we call NESEP for year 2018-2022, actually has established new systems in education. Now, in the interest of that, we are talking about what is new in the 21st century. We are looking at the skills, which include critical thinking, collaboration, and problem. Education managers will need to make deliberate effort to ensure that learners embrace these core competencies. A major challenge is digital literacy. Do you agree with me? Do we still have a challenge in digital literacy? Starting with who are not being utilized. Note that in the 21st century, we are talking about digital literacy. And when we come for assessment, we look at the integration and advisory to guide and advise the institutions in attainment of quality education. And I want to give an example. In the year 2021-2022 financial year, the Ministry of Education, through the Directorate of Quality Education Institutions, this one was done. We have already, the average score was a score of 2.7. The areas that are normally assessed, it is the learning process, the learning outcomes, 5 thematic areas: learning process, infrastructure, leadership and management in schools, community involvement, learners' welfare. And you find that the score is still just slightly above average because the expected score is that you look at the processes, you look at the learning outcomes, so that the quality of education being offered in your institutions is actually improved. As a ministry, there has introduced internal-based quality assurance system, what we are calling IBQA. It is still yet to be rolled out. It is in the process, so that even before quality assurance and standards officers come for the external assessment, the schools will have quality assured themselves. Is that in order? So, we're in the process, and hopefully we shall be able to automate. When we automate, just like the many processes that are being, the ministry has a dashboard where all the reports are normally uploaded, and we can do data analysis. Now, there is an issue that I would want to talk about, the child-friendly schools. It is like it's something we have forgotten. You find that a learner of the 21st century would want to run to school, not being forced to be in school. And you can see the way we have embraced the CBC. What we need to, our objectives, we want to automate all the cash processes. We have already established as a ministry the dashboard. We have automated some of the cash assessment tools, and all our officers use those automated tools. We have already reviewed registration guidelines. We have 2021 registration guidelines
are pedagogical
content knowledge and assessment. Acquisition of these competencies is demanding on the teacher in terms of time and resources, and if this is not well handled, can compromise on to be able to handle the challenges that come with that in teacher education. We have principles that guide and should guide our teachers to be able, and through the principle of mentorship, we teachers are expected to support one another, lift one another for continuous improvement, and that's a very important principle that all of us as teachers have to embrace and adopt, to be expected to create learning spaces for every child to ensure no child is left behind. And the third principle is active learning, which is a shift from learns. And the last principle is teamwork, where we embrace the principle of helping each other to improve performance, and this increases the morale of each one of us. So once these principles are embraced and exercised, the demand on the teacher is lessened. So to support the teacher in acquiring the competencies, the teacher education in the Ministry of Education conducts upgrading course. 32 public teacher training colleges are conducting this upgrading course for the P1 teachers and the certificate ECD teachers. And this course, we have done 1 year. We have trained competent to handle competency-based curriculum in our primary and pre-primary schools. So as managers, if you have an opportunity to engage, I would recommend you look for the education, which are 9 of them. And then we also conduct pre-service training. Currently, the pre-service training is being undertaken in 20 public primary teacher training colleges and forces conducted in 3 gentlemen. The reforms are here to improve the quality of education and make Kenyans relevant to compete globally, and we are up to the task, and teacher education is here to ensure that the government achieves this mandate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's appreciate her, please.
Development and the review of appropriate education policies and the guidelines for implementation. These policies are in the areas of gender. We also have policies related to alcohol and the drug abuse. That is the management itself. There are many policies that exist. We also have the overall policy framework that gives the direction. Within the sector, we also have the National Education Sector Strategic Plan. At the current place, the Ministry is reviewing the National Education 23 to 2027. The focus is on promotion of quality education. Particularly, we shall have strategies and activities aimed at promoting quality education at the basic education level, primary school, because it forms the basis for secondary and also higher learning. We also have developed the guidance and the counseling policy, which is also awaiting to be launched and for implementation. And at this point, we are calling all heads of institutions and education managers and other implementing agencies to support full implementation of all policies, including the learner utilization of learner capitation guidelines, which is already out for implementation. And the effective implementation is very critical so that we ensure compliance with the...
That was very good, isn't it? You see people who develop policies. They are very articulate and very fast. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate again. We are told our chief guest is around. So anytime our chief guest can come in. But as we prepare for the chief guest, the last speaker is from the Schools Audit Department, the Director of the Schools Audit Services. Actually with us is Mr. Nduru. Mr. Nduru is the Deputy Director, Schools Audit. Usually all our public institutions, our schools included, our schools are a procurement entity based on the Public Finance Management Act, based on the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. We resource our schools. For example, under the free primary education, government gives around 13 billion Kenyan shillings that we disburse to our schools. I know for the last few years we have been retaining some amount of money at the headquarters for provision of books, for core curriculum, and other activities that go with it. But generally, what we are saying is that resources are never enough. Usually resources are scarce. And so the auditor will give us a picture of the state of financial situations in our primary schools all over the country. Because in their capacity, they go around the schools all over the country and they have been, approving the books of accounts. So I know at the point which the chief guest come in, I'll request him to stop. But I just want him to start off, and then when the chief guest gets seated, he will resume again giving a picture of financial status of our schools. Nuru, welcome, please. Let's welcome him.
Thank you, Bana DG. Good morning, all of you. I just want to give an overview so that we can be able to appreciate the reason why we normally come to our schools to audit.
Yes, I'm just testing.
So we say it is a legal requirement that is statutory. It is in our laws for all education.
Kenya very much, ladies and gentlemen. While you are away, we missed you. We love you. You can hear the laughter. The head teachers of Kenya really love you. It is now first stanza only. Let us remain upstanding, ladies and gentlemen, for the honor of country. Remember, we only sing the East African anthem 3 stanzas when the heads of state of the East African countries are present, or when we are having the music festivals, or when we are having the East African activities, games, and go ahead and give you the strand and the sub-strand. But that will need another occasion. And KICD has agreed with me. The national anthem, first stanza. Thank you very much. You may get seated. The chief guest, sir, as you are taking your seat, the DG was on the floor with a panel. I want to invite him to conclude it because he was just about to conclude. Mr. DG, sir.
Our chief guest, Principal Secretary, State Department of Basic Education, the Chair, Teacher Service Commission, CEOs from our sagas. We want to also join the Kepsha chairman and his team to invite you and join us in this forum. So we had assembled. This is the annual congregation of our head teachers. Government throughout has been encouraging associations between our head teachers and principals, this being the Kenya Primary Heads Association. We have the national association, the regional associations, and the international associations. And for us, as government, we encourage our principals to associate so that they share experiences. And so, as you are coming in, we were just reminding them always that head teachers are reminded. Head is there, where we meet over 10,000 head teachers. It's like visiting over 10,000 schools. And so, we welcome our principal secretary. So, sir, as you came, the person on the floor was Nduru, the deputy director in charge of school audit services, trying to give a picture of the work they have been doing the last 1 year in auditing our schools, approving schools' books of accounts. And I have noted, when Nduru was speaking, the head teachers were very keen, unlike other presentations. Matters of finance are very interesting, eh? We have not Nzoka. Nzoka, please come forward. Nduru, come forward, please.
Thank you, Banadiji. Our chief guest, the Principal Secretary, the Department for Basic Education, Dr. Abedio, other guests, and all protocols observed. Good morning. I want to continue from where we had reached, but for the benefit of the chief guest, we had said that for the year 2021, schools, the primary schools, about 70% of the schools have been audited. saying that out of the population of about 23,000 schools, about 6,000 schools are not being audited, and which is a breach of the legal requirement that all public institutions need to be audited once every year. Now we had reached the area where I was. It is a failure to maintain books of accounts and financial statements, which is contrary to the Public Financial Management Act. Number two, it is a failure to adhere to procurement requirements, that is appointment of the procurement committees, observing the threshold, because the public procurement on what kind of items should be procured using which method. The other area is asset management. Most of the schools do not have a record of the assets they own, and also the assets which are available, most of them they are not properly maintained, they are in a deplorable state. There is a requirement in the Basic Education Act, Section 15, subsection A, for public schools to prepare a strategic plan, other than the SIP schools, which are being considered as a pilot project. Other schools do not have the strategic plan. Then we have what we are calling the emerging issues. The Public Sector Accounting Standard Board, a body created, established under the National Treasury under the Public Finance Management Act, prescribed the secondary schools. We are in the process of developing the applicable standards for primary schools. For secondary school, it has been successful through the assistance by the leadership in the ministry. And we are appealing that once they prescribe the standards for primary schools, you also adopt it and take on board, so we seek your support. Finally, I want to say that the Director of Schools Audit Services, we have got officers in all the counties who are the ones who normally do the actual audit. What I would request is that if you encounter any challenges, maybe in the maintenance of financial records, we appreciate managing the finances. I would like to encourage that just in case you have any challenge, seek assistance from them. They are there to assist you. They are there to work with you, so that we make sure that we accomplish the objectives set for the Ministry of Education. And as I sit down, you can also make use of the other officers in the Ministry of Education, in the counties and the sub-counties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nduru. Please let's appreciate him. Asanteni sana. So, sir, we just want to, for us to wind up, we want to take one or two questions from the floor. If there's any one or two questions, we have had a presentation from the line director of primary education. We had a presentation from the director of quality education, quality assurance and standards. We have had a presentation from teacher education, a brief presentation from the director of policy, and finally, you have heard from the auditor. So any question, any concerns, you can raise your hand, please. Pastor, we'll only take three in the questions. And then you just say your name, the school you come from, and you maybe the question where it's directed to any of the panel members, you can just say that.
Thank you. My name is Rosa Mono. I come from Kisumu County, Kisumu West.
School.
Marion Primary. I have a question. I may not know to which section it's directed to. I'm concerned about our capitation, sir. It's so little that schools with few children hardly know how to run the schools. Compared to our counterparts in the secondary section, the heads are really suffering. Just for example, a school with 120 pupils will only get 12,000. You have a watchman to pay. You have renovations, electricity, you have water to pay, until you don't know what to do. Second, We do the same activities, the same number of participants, the same levels up to the nationals. Please consider us.
Thank you,
We
thank
are
you.
suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, you have made your point. Another question. So that question, it's like all of you ask it at the same time, isn't it? Tumesikia.
County School, Maguna Primary School, dealing with his thoughts, that is Kepsha. I've not had them being recognized, but my question is not on that side. My question is on the free primary grants. We have this NER, net enrollment, whereby some of the learners have been cut by the age factor, having been put in NEMIS, and yet they are not receiving their free primary. And we are wondering, we are getting almost half of our enrollment getting free primary, while others have been cut by the age factor. After 13 years, and they are in school, they are coming back from home to join school, then they are not getting any amount of money because of the age factor. And yet we have them in primary. And again, we also have these grade 6, that is CBC, coming back to primary school, and yet they are not being considered in pre-primary. So we are wondering, you have been struggling with these questions, but now since you are here, you are going to get the answers.
The age factor, isn't it? Age factor, over age.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Learners, even with the special needs. Your Excellency, the last review on capitation was done in 2010, where capitation was kept at 1,400 per child. Sir, this figure falls far below the requirements to effectively run a primary school. Let me take this opportunity to present a case of the operational costs of running an IB school of 400 gaps. And our proposal at the current rates. In our proposal, we have taken into account inflation rates, cost of living, and the depreciation. The cost of running a primary school with 400 pupils comes to about 3 million shillings per year. This, Your Excellency, calculated per child will come here. We are also requesting that consideration be given to low-cost boarding schools in the ASAL areas, together with feeding and retention. Your Excellency, sir, we are also appreciating that the government saw it wise to extend the insurance cover to all our students in secondary schools. We are kindly requesting your office to consider extending the same to our primary schools. Therefore, what means is that the schools will well be resourced and will be able to deliver the right education for our children and society. We also request that progression of aid teachers in grade D and improved success in quality, which comes as a result of increased investment in infrastructure, human capacity, and development and policy reforms. So finally, to my colleagues, school leaders constantly pay attention. They build a culture focused on student learning. They invite, they inspire, they support families, students, and school staff in ways that lead to improvement. They want to be trusted, not simply to be liked. With that said, let me thank His Excellency for once again for gracing our meeting and conference. Thank you very much. May God bless us all. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I wish to take this humble opportunity to invite and welcome our Chairman, Teacher Service Commission, to come and make some comments and help to welcome our guest speaker to talk to us. Welcome the Chairman with a clap. A continued clap until he reaches. A continued clap until he reaches. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, the Chairman, Kepsha, our chief guest today, Sir Dr. Berio Kipsang, the PS, Basic Education, various CEOs of various sagas of Ministry of Education, various leaders in education, Kepsha officials, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. God is good all the time, and that is His nature. PSR, allow me to take this opportunity to resonate with my brother and my brothers who are here. Because let's give a hand to our peers. Because you stepped aside a bit and you have come back to your home. We know you as an educationist, and we are very proud as a commission, and also on behalf of the Teacher Service Commission and all the teachers of this country who number 346,000 teachers, to congratulate His Excellency the President for being elected the President of the Republic of Kenya. We also take this opportunity to congratulate you also for being given the mandate to be the current PS Basic Education. Let's give a hand to our brother and the PS, Daktari. Sir, allow me to say that as a commission, we are very delighted, and that's why I've come here to confirm and indicate that commission and the ministry, we are working hand in hand to ensure that we deliver quality education to the children of this country. And I want to reassure you, sir, that the 346,000 teachers in this country and all the teachers sitting here today are behind you as a government to deliver the national agenda for education. Sir, allow me also to say that we are happy as a Teacher Service Commission, and these teachers, our teachers are very happy that the President has directed that we recruit 30,000 new teachers. The teachers in this country, the schools have been having very serious shortfall. As a commission, we have gone to 23 counties with my commissioners. And one thing we'd like to say is that the teacher shortage is a reality in this country. We have a shortfall of 116,000 teachers. And we are happy that even before 100 days, His Excellency the President has directed we recruit 30,000 teachers. A hand to the President and the government. I would like to reassure you, sir, that the commission, as I am here, the entire system is in place, and by the close of the next 2 weeks, we will have advertised those posts, because we have to align with the directive of the President. That one, sir, rest be assured that the teachers will be in school by the month of January as directed by the President. The PSR, allow me to say that these teachers who are taking over the jobs, they are going to bridge the gap that is already there in terms of shortage. And we are going to ensure that the distribution is equitable so that every corner and every school will be able to get teachers who are going to deliver the curriculum as envisaged. As a commission, we have already retooled 229,000 primary school teachers and 60,000 secondary school teachers. The retooling is meant to enable the teachers to deliver the CBC. It is not a one-off exercise, it's a continuous process, and we are going to engage with the ministry to ensure that we work together to have a seamless flow in terms of delivery of curriculum. Our PSR, allow me also to thank the government because of the support that they have given the teachers in various ways. We are under a very tough time this year. And allow me also to take this opportunity to thank all the teachers for ensuring that we understand the 8th exam done in April. We have another one done last month, and these ladies and gentlemen, they did it meticulously well. Let's give them a lovely hand. This is the cohort of the teachers who have delivered to this country the new candidates who have done grade 6. They have done it well. They never depended on any experience, but because of their training, they have been able to deliver the exam quite well indeed. Please, let's give ourselves a hand for doing such a great one. Allow me, sir, to say that I know the President has spearheaded the initiative of tree planting. And what I would like to call upon all the teachers and the students in the schools, let us support the government initiative of tree planting in our schools. Let us encourage students and pupils to plant trees. This can be fruit trees, this can be ornamental trees, or even multi-purpose trees. These trees will enhance or will assist the student to learn how to take care of the environment. It will also be an item to use when you are teaching the CBC. So I will call upon the teachers to be the champions of tree planting in schools and encouraging our people to plant. Sir, tomorrow we will have our TSC day, and we will engage definitely with the teachers to address the issues they have and they are going to raise. But one thing I want to reassure the teachers, we are going to support you as you carry out your duties as a head teacher in the schools. And we are going to work with our brothers, the unions, so that we deliver our mandate as envisaged by the Constitution. With those many remarks, allow me therefore to take this opportunity to welcome our peers to address us. Nataka tumkumbuse ile makofi ya KANU. 1, 2, 3, funga, fungua. Karibu pana PS. Thank you.
Asante sana, the Chair Teacher Service Commission. Asante sana walimu. God is good and all the time. From the onset of the comments and commitments of the Chair, the Teacher Service Commission, that we are all committed to deliver as one in government. Asante sana, Chair. From the beginning, I would want to take this opportunity to convey greetings and apologies of our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machoku, who was to be here today with our chief guest. But my colleagues, teachers in government, today is what we call the Cabinet Day. So our Cabinet Secretary, and shortly I'll be reading the speech of our chief guest, His Excellency, and delegates, allow me to make 1 or 2 comments, because as soon as I start reading the President's speech, I will not make any other comment beyond that point. I would want to take this opportunity to thank you, our teachers, and our head teachers, and pick from what the chair of TSC said, for successfully delivering 3 assessments in 1 year. It's not quite easy to do that. I'm saying 3 of national assessments and examinations. But we are also aware, just as Professor Omondo must have told you yesterday, that you also delivered 3 other assessments: an assessment for grade 4, an assessment for grade 5, and an assessment for grade 6, which are school-based assessments. So let's congratulate ourselves for that good work and to work with our children. The biggest thing that you can do and the biggest opportunity that you can be given is to be part of those people who invest in the future. Because what we do as teachers is investing in the future. And therefore, allow me for having given me this opportunity to co-create our children with you. To only one person to co-create human beings. And that person, God gave an opportunity to co-create human beings are the teachers. Because everybody around, including our own president, because we, the teachers, co-created everybody around, including ourselves. We co-created ourselves as teachers. Stand with you as the co-creators of the humans that are in today. I would want also to thank your leadership, led by your chairman, who came before the presidential working, always been a friend of our presidential working party. And when your team was doing a presentation, I was in the attendance, and I can assure you, your team and assure you that we took into cognizance what they told us. And while at that, we are all aware the pronouncements of our president on the interim report of the presidential working party. And the most critical thing that all of us as Kenyans were waiting at the junior school level, at the junior secondary school level. As we acknowledge this as heads of our primary schools, I would want to bring to your attention the responsibilities that it carries to domicile junior school in our primary schools. I hope and pray that you have started internalizing what that means. It's asking you as our head teachers to start validation, verification of data of our schools. We would want to appreciate each and every of our 23,000 public schools so that we can know and be sure that each one of us has capacity to host the junior school. And where we think that we can share the responsibility with our neighboring school, let's say that. One thing I would want to appreciate also is that my officers at the ministry have informed me that almost 50% of your schools have produced a secondary school. And therefore, it will make it easy for us. But the most critical facility is that we shall be socializing our children to basic science. And therefore, we shall require to share some of our laboratories. But we shall also be working with our partners, including our members of parliament, to ensure, as the president directed, that our children are able to access all the basic facilities, including laboratories and books, as we do this particular transition. I will therefore ask you as our head teachers that we capture all the information that was expected of us in NEMIS, the National Education Management Information System. I would want to pronounce ourselves that going forward, we shall only have one source of truth, which will be NEMIS, and all our activities will be NEMIS-based. Either as we send capitation, as we distribute books, and as we address some of the concerns and requests that you have put forward, NEMIS will be at the center of it. So let's capture all the information that is required of us. As we move forward, also as I go ahead to read the president's speech, I would want to urge and ask you to work with us as we move towards empowering our children. I urge our parents that it is our primary responsibility as first educators to work with our children. I am a parent, and even ourselves as head teachers, we are parents, and we cannot outsource our responsibilities. We must remain with our responsibilities. We co-parent with teachers, we don't outsource parenting to teachers. And therefore, we must work together towards making our children acquire the values that we expect of them. Therefore, as we move forward, day schooling will be the direction, because that's the only way we shall be able to engage with our children. And the first 9 years of our learning between grade 1 and grade 9, the direction that government will be taking is day schooling. And I'm aware this is a critical TOR of our presidential. 8% of our children, globally, rarely will you get any country that goes beyond 15%. Rarely. Even in the African setup, ours is the highest anywhere. So we need to start socializing ourselves that we need to be with our children. And the only way we shall be with our children is for these children to be in day school environment. So let's start socializing ourselves towards that end. On school feeding, we shall continue to progress. In the President's, finally, I would want to acknowledge all our stakeholders who are here and urge them that let's work together in delivering the investment that I've had from almost most of us on financing education. We make a commitment, and as the DGs, and as you are all aware, the presidency has committed itself to implementing the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party. And we've also got the same from our secondary school colleagues, and therefore I'm sure the Presidential Working Party is listening to our views on this issue of financing. But generally, I want to assure you that we are listening. We are listening. And Chair, I would urge you to stand by your quotation. I urge you and my colleague teachers, you know, when the chair was concluding his speech, he captured a quote. I hope all of us will live by that quotation, because it talked about then we shall be increasing on our trust. And read the speech of His Excellency the President, Kepsha. So this is a speech by His Excellency the President, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, during the official opening of the 18th Kepsha Annual Delegates Conference on Tuesday, 6 December 2022 at Sheikh Zayed Children's Welfare Center, here Service Commission, union officials, strategic partners, various government agencies, the CEOs present, national government and county government officials, distinguished delegates and fellow teachers, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here this morning to officially open the 18th Kepsha Annual Delegates Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of our education system and the building of capacity for national skills development is my government's priority. As a country, we have invested heavily in infrastructure, with the education sector receiving the lion's share of the budget. This budget is to facilitate implementation of policies, programs, and promote innovation and lifelong learning in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 4. Educated citizens equipped with relevant skills are integral building of our country and raising its profile globally. Since independence, a lot more still remains to be done. We are determined to lead the way in the region, and my administration has focused on the goal of ensuring equity, quality for all as facilitators role models, mentors, and learning resource for our children. Let me take this opportunity to also recall that during the COVID-19 and our children, I'm also very pleased to know that despite the effects of COVID pandemic, the country is still on course with its reform agenda in education. These reforms started way before the pandemic and will continue even longer. The Global Economic Update Edition 25, aiming high, securing education to sustain recovery, ranks Kenya a top education performer in its. The new World Bank Public Expenditure Review in its basic education report last May points out that primary education in Kenya has reached universal level, while secondary education enrollment increased by 50% in the last 7 years before the COVID pandemic. These achievements, as a result, the same report states that expenditure reached international benchmarks as a share of total government expenditure, as a share of gross domestic, and as a share of gross domestic product. This is a testament to the priority given to education and proves that total government expenditure as a share of GDP reached 5.3% in 2018, higher than the average other lower middle income and upper middle income countries have achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is undergoing education reform to align with SDGs for equity and inclusion. One of the most important reforms is the rollout and implementation of competence-based curriculum. There has been concerns about the implementation of this curriculum, and during the campaigns, His Excellency the President promised to look into these concerns. Therefore, public participation was the first agenda on the table when this government came into office. This informed our decision to establish the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform that has been engaging stakeholders for close to 2 months now, and an initial interim report presented to me last week. Collecting of views which inform education reforms, which may include readjustment and review of the CBC as is today. The Working Party has also been tasked to provide suggestions on equitable access to education, especially for pupils, students from marginalized communities, those facing social or economic challenges, and learners within our public schools, and implication on access, transition, and cost of education for improved learning outcomes. So one of the most critical areas that the Presidential Working Party will be looking at are all our schools, and therefore the Presidential Working Party has been told to look at all these questions of categorization and if this categorization is even necessary. I know, and luckily, that our primary schools are not categorized, and yet we have not had any challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, although we are celebrating the many milestones so far achieved in our country, we need to appreciate challenges facing the education sector, including access to quality learning. To ensure access to education for all, we have planned to strategically promote and work with partners to construct low-cost boarding schools in ASAL areas for pastoralist community. I know this is one of the areas where your chair has raised. Our most pressing need now is the greater convergence of stakeholders towards a common goal of improved education system. Still on access, I'm aware there are about 1 million girls who miss school for an average of 4 days a month because of lack of sanitary towels. As promised in our education charter, free sanitary towels will be provided for vulnerable primary school and secondary school girls to ensure 100%. To enhance success and equity, the government has pledged to build more classrooms in our public schools. I have noted that most primary schools are congested as a result of the progressive primary education and 100% transition to secondary programs. Some of us might ask how 100% transition relates to congestion in primary schools. You know, it becomes a motivation to go back to school when you know that you have to come back to our primary schools and therefore also cause congestion in our primary schools. I also know that Kenya has nearly 3 times more primary schools than secondary schools. Both private and public primary schools today stand at 32,000, while our secondary school stands at 10,000. This mismatch will clearly continue to frustrate our efforts to delivering on 100% transition to secondary education. And this is one of the reasons that may have informed the Working Party towards hosting junior secondary school in our primary schools. On digital learning, clearly we must appreciate the challenges due to unequal access to quality internet connectivity, inadequate trained teachers, content and lack of electricity in some parts of the country. This has disrupted smooth implementation of the digital literacy program used. As I said during the World Children's Day, access to internet in schools is a necessity in our effort to impart. Therefore, we urge our schools and partners to find ways of collaboration to provide opportunities to our children and young people to make them globally competitive. The use of information technology remains a strong enabler in strengthening the reach to our education system. Ladies and gentlemen, the administration has pledged to employ 30,000 teachers next month as we work to address the teacher shortage, which stands at 16,000. I am also committed to ensuring that government in-service training, including continuous teacher professional, is undertaken. And as I conclude, let me say that some may consider our education charter overly ambitious. I hope and pray that most of us have had access to the education charter that was released by the Kenya Kwanza government during the election times. In that particular charter, there are commitments and promises that we are done. The President says that we are prepared to fast-track its methodological implementation, recognizing the importance of educating individuals and communities as a means of investing in quality skills necessary for building and growing our economy. Among the pledges in the Education Charter was establishment of a national education fund to mobilize grants, bursaries, and scholarships. This will be prioritized by my government. And these scholarships will come both from public and private sector to cater for non-tuition costs of our children. We pledge to increase funding for free primary education program and assure you that we shall allocate more funds to implement quality education. The Ministry of Education, county government, and government agencies, development partners, and other private sector partners have contributed immensely to education in Kenya. And we now need, more than ever before, to work closely to meet the needs of our population. And at this point, I would want to acknowledge, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, that we've been working very closely, as the DG said, with our development partners. And I can assure you that they are willing and they have come together to work with us to make sure that we make a difference in the lives of our children. I commend the leadership of the Kenya Primary School Heads Association for working closely with the Ministry of Education, Teacher Service Commission, and other state agencies and departments in the critical role of developing the sector. I now take this opportunity to wish you fruitful deliberation in your 4-day conference. It is my hope that this conference will translate into tangible benefits to the education leaders and teachers in this country. With these remarks, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of His Excellency the President, to declare the 18 Kenya Primary School Heads Annual Delegates Conference officially open. And also commit myself that I will deliver the messages that you have forwarded to us to His Excellency the President. Thank you very much.
Band. The band appreciating the speech from His Excellency the President, delivered with precision by our PS, Dr. Kepsha. Ile jambo bwana. Now the chairman receiving the speech from the President, Makofi. Remain upstanding for that song. Band, Jambo. Habari gani nzuri sana, makaribisho, hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani nzuri sana, wana PS wakaribishwa huku Kepsha, hakuna matata. Kepsha yetu hakuna matata. Nzuri sana, mwakaribishwa. Kepsha yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
You say we go top, sir? Okay. Give way, please. Yes.
And we are identifying the schools that require that.
All these books need to be put in one place and then it makes my life easier.
No, we are only about how many students? We have done about students so far. Yes, secondary. There's a gift. There's a gift. So, but what they're saying about application is real. So, this is the work that
Who is the next?
we're going to. Let me give you this.
So how do we know that the value for them? Yeah, because you have to look at the traffic and the exactly So this for which grade?
This is 4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, 6.
Then we have another one for 7 on the other side. But we looked at the designs and seen, these are the things.
I think it is very interesting for players who are mobile.
This one is basically as we speak now. And it's fully equipped, you can carry out any experiment, it comes with
As long as it is affordable.
Yes.
The last time I bought it was 150,000.
How much now is it?
Yes, we have improved on it and it's 200. But with your support, we can see how to lower that.
Yeah, when it is produced at mass, yes, then you will enjoy economy.
We can do that, sir.
But this is very important. I can tell you, for our primary schools, for our junior school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you aware that TTIs are now producing something?
We have patented this. Yes, we done patenting this for this.
I don't know, as government we encourage
It has all the components and some research.
Yes.
The only thing you need to do is that you need to produce that as model.
They are not being carried. They are there.
Set it up.
So that it is a product our TTIs were, which is good. This is
the integrated science, 7, 8 and 9 science kit, together with the manuals. And the science kit has been prepared using the curriculum designs for grade 7, 8 and 9. And 9 now, 9 is sorted out.
This way. When you look at this,
This is a mindset. What we've done, sir.
Like these wires.
Yes.
Can this be produced by our local people?
Yes, it's possible. This round we're going out to see the partnership we can engage.
Yeah,
even
because
with the TTIs.
we need to work with the TTIs. We need to work with the, you know, these young people. They can do so much. If we encourage them, they can fabricate. They can fabricate. So, thank you so much.
Okay, sir, thank you so much.
Okay.
Timing tutaingia wapi, si ndio?
Registration of teachers.
But now I just want to demonstrate how we are supposed to set the password because there's a policy that they are supposed to set the password and we're having issues. So I just this is TPay, yes.
Teacher pay.
Yes.
Oh, the pay slip.
To set the password, we just come to forgot password. Yeah, forgot password, and then they write the TSC number, the TSC number.
How do we manage impersonation? If somebody will be able to get access of a teacher's detail.
Yes, this is why, because after they do the resetting of the password, a code is sent to their mobile number. So now they are able to keep the code, and then they are able to proceed.
Some 2 months ago, a teacher in Wajir was given a death certificate was generated, a principal was stopped, and his salary was stopped. I don't know that you have heard of that story. His salary was stopped, a death certificate was created for him, and the teacher has been out of this.
We are upgrading our systems to ensure that we are capable actually in terms of hacking and that.
Okay. Yeah, because somebody also can play around and retain the personality of a teacher. Let's say if a teacher passes on, somebody can continue to be updating the system and taking the salary.
Postcode.
So we need to get away of, I think with time, we may need to see how we deploy maybe biometric, so that with time we start getting better control. But otherwise a teacher can pass on and somebody inherits the biodata, the other data, and continue updating the system as though it is the teacher.
Biometric of teachers. We've already done a pilot, and we are doing the next one this year, just to make sure that we get the details of our teachers, particulars.
So I think that's good. We have come of age. There was a time Dio alikuwa anazungusha payslip.
Yes, Dio is equal to box.
Now,
here we download
now
from
we just print from your
registration is from here. Yeah. So many
even
services.
salaries, the chairman used to be gari inazungusha.
Yeah, physically. No.
Were you there that time? Yeah. When gari ya Dio ilikuwa inazungusha hata mshahara. But now with SMS you
No, it's just touch of the button. Yes.
So this one, I think it is good to start being proactive.
Yes.
Because of data security, cyber security arrangements.
That one you have already put in place, and we are also in the process of finalizing of biometric teacher registration, where the entire information of the teacher is actually now being, instead of having the files that get lost, all of it is already being captured. You have done more than 80%, so we are in the process of finalizing, so that at the touch of the button, then you can get the entire information of the teacher. Because we have a lot of challenges. When the teacher retires, you are told the files are not received. You know, all these other things. So now,
teacher information management
system, yeah. So we are active finalizing on that side.
So how would you link up with the e-citizen?
As of now, we've started what the chair has given me, the electronic document management system, whereby we are taking all the teachers' files. You can imagine our numbers, 340,000 teachers, and each document in the file has to be scanned. So we have already done over 240,000 digital copies. We are still continuing because we also have the teachers who have come of age, who have gone, who have exited. We still have to ensure that that is digitalized. So we are still in the process so that ultimately all our systems are integrated together. So that at the touch of a button, if I'm looking for your TSC number, I'm able to see all your details. So it's not that, now it won't be that the file is lost or the file has to go from one step to another. But if this officer, Joyce here from ICT, needs to assist you on a matter of ICT, and I'm in HR, and I'm checking on your matter of HR, both of us can access that file and work on it at the same time. So that brings about efficiency. It shortens the time, improving the service delivery to our teachers.
The only thing I'm saying is that because government is going to digitize itself within the next 1 year, there should be a relationship so that your data is not a standalone. It can be part of the integrated government data.
So that means working with ICTAS.
Working with the others.
The Minister of ICT can support them. Because even in formal selection, we work with them. The names and all that, we work with ICTA. Examination Council works with ICTA.
So you have got to look for a way of integrating.
Yes.
Okay.
You are coming here? Yeah. Aya.
Ndio. Hapa ni kushoto mwelezea from that.
Umeenda kuanera huko kwanza.
Tumetoa stika.
I got a message.
Training guide.
ESD, Education for Sustainable Development.
So we are issuing them to us.
The same documents are also in the website.
They are also in the website, and we also give them guidelines.
Guidelines for
Application for
FPE funds.
and also changing enrollment.
You're also attending to their challenges, naming all that.
Yes, and all the questions they have.
Yes, you are taking note of that.
Do you still work with the Israelis on this sustainable development?
Yes.
Yes, they still. Karibu sana.
Chairman.
Now, over there.
Sasa tumfuate.
Umeshika ni ngumu.
Excuse me, just move.
Yes, how are you?
Fine.
Our topic is the Kenya Primary Education Equity Learning Program, a new program that is being implemented by the Ministry from the year 2022 to 2026.
The man who needs to know so much is this man.
So the program is mainly focusing on reducing
It's what? Like 1.7 people.
Yes. We are not targeting so much infrastructure.
But there's also
Component for infrastructure. And we are targeting schools also with grants. Yes, $5,000 per school. Thank you. So these are my regional managers. Yes. Now tell the boss what's happening at KLB.
Welcome to KLB. We have a pioneer of junior secondary books here. The learning areas, all the learning areas. Top Scholar is a new brand for that segment, and we have them available.
Is it the revision book? No, these are the course materials.
Those are the ones we will be distributing. This is what we will be distributing to schools. Yes. The series for the new curriculum for English and Kiswahili. It was from Tusome. It was upgraded to what we have here, incorporating the literacy and activities.
So it is no longer.
It's now, yeah.
It is no longer working.
It's no longer going.
So this organization 70% of the book in the market is controlled by KLB. Yes. It's a government agency, ministerial agency, benefit economics. Yes. Even our prices in the market.
They compete with the others.
The preferred book for publication by schools. Yes.
And for the counterpart for this survey in ECD and diary, we also have this.
Yes.
That is ECD.
Yes.
This is for ECD.
Yes. This is for ECD. This is for
where the encyclopedias can show the book. Yes. Almost all the counties. Yes, catalog of KLB books.
Now,
so this is the new product in the market.
We have now got the new product in the market. Yes. This is the encyclopedia for grade 6. 456. Yes. 456. So assist them preparing for the summer table session.
The only one, CBC.
So are you sure you are not taking back our children to...
No, but we have looked at it. It is full of school-based tasks.
Yes.
They understand.
There are lots of illustrations. Yes. Actually, suggested activities. Most of them are activities. But
they are waiting for the presentation working party. So from last week, now next week we are giving direction to the publishers.
Because the real problem is what the road land. The road land. Yes.
They are like suggested activities.
And skills.
Yes. And skills, yes.
We've represented all the CBC attributes very well.
You don't reintroduce road.
No. Yes, we can go back there. It is not as it used to be.
Have you infused the values here?
They are reflected from the statements and even illustrations. You will see out of the illustrations, you will see maybe learners playing together. You are in a position to bring it out, whereas you're not in class situation. Like if you're looking at this, you'll be able to see out of an illustration, bring out a value, or let's say love, peace, respect, out of the illustration, or even the statement very well, so easily, without effort. So the teacher will not necessarily pinpoint and say today the item which was being being discussed was covering, let's say, this particular core competency. No, you effortlessly bring it out through this.
Because we have to infuse it in a way that we can never teach values.
We can never. We don't. So we have to learn as they get into the activities.
So you are ready for grade 7, eh?
Yes.
All the subjects and all activity areas. Yes, the feedback we've gotten from the teachers and the learners is very encouraging.
Very encouraging. It's not encouraging Scotland.
I'm showing you in a minute.
Which one?
Yes. Integrated center.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Thank you for coming.
All right. Okay.
Come here.
We had it.
Professor.
Yes. Sorry, fine. Yes.
Pay bill.
Maybe you can give. Why don't you give PS a copy of this one?
Yes, we are. It is in the package. Karibu PS. We don't just do course materials. We also ventured into memoirs. Linjiru, the one much publicized. Here, this is for you. And then Lydia, published with us.
There is somebody we want you guys to
Gladly able to share. Thank
Okay, thank you so much for coming. Nashukuru sana SK, we are proud. Feel appreciated. You go sawa?
Naona watu wanaokopa kuja hapa kwa maana hawajalipa.
Nice seeing you guys. Yes.
Asante sana. Tunashukuru sana. At least we are sure we have paid our road. So
kuna njia. Ingia.
It will help us as we are junior secondary school leadership.
And it's targeting junior secondary only.
Junior secondary only.
Supported by the Belgium
agency. It is going to be app-based learning, and we anticipate to reach a larger coverage for our school leaders. That's what we
I think they got some support. Was it around 4 million euros?
Yeah, 4 million euros.
Teacher development. On teacher support.
Yes. School leaders. School learning. School leaders, yes. We want to target school leaders to enable them prepare themselves so as to pick up on CBC.
Which aspect of school leadership? All of it.
Yeah, we also have aspects for pedagogical matters for teachers.
Basically, it's instructional leadership.
Yeah, that is
supporting the head teachers.
Yes.
Financial management.
It's also available. Yes. All of them.
what do you plan on yourself? No, don't go.
For ourselves, we have done submission.
As Kim.
What information is there?
Sorry?
What information is there?
The manuals.
Did I give away? Did I give away? Give me one. I want to go and see. I'm on Tantumia kwa office.
But you need to rethink bigger on what you want to be as we yeah.
My member was
so we'll just do some next. So we'll do only some stay and make and then call it a day. Next week.
You're welcome, sir.
This robot still works.
That's sir? Yes, this is a semester. We are encouraging teachers on how to come up with improvisation so that they teach innovatively.
They're coming. Let's wait for the chairman.
Okay.
Yes.
Teachers can teach innovatively and not very expensively by just doing improvisation, and they come up with the innovative ways of teaching mathematics and science. So like here we have robotic kits. We have shown what it can do to help in learners to come up with just critical thinking, problem solving, and digital skills. Here we have nets. These ones can be made from even manila papers. Teaching surface areas. So when they see it open like this, and if it is drawn, this actually makes them concretize they see the area. They can fold back and come up with a
three-dimensional
shape. Correct. So we have the realia and then the nets. Then play-based learning. They learn better when they play. Have games here that have mathematical concepts. Before you do it, you can see they were all fitting. Like we would try. Kindly, one of us to just try to fit them back. Just try to fit them back.
I'm a teacher.
And then they are here cubes, your teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Good. So make a geometric shape from there. You can see this is a
fit all of them.
Yeah, fit all of them back. They were all fitting.
So in the process, they are developing problem-solving skills, critical thinking, collaboration. All the competencies are taken care of.
Please bring your skills on board.
Okay.
Can help the teacher.
Yeah, the learner can do it with action. That's collaboration again.
We collaborate.
And it's not easy.
Let him.
Yeah, so continue.
If he doesn't
continue. Some thinking required, creativity.
Maybe they need to be in a line so that.
So basically, what the teachers needed to have done is to plan. First of all, see the problem and plan on how to address that problem. Now it will take a little time for them to actually solve the problem.
And you can see
they were fitting.
They didn't plan fast.
Okay. So what happens when you don't get to the first time? Resilience. Now you try again. They were fitting.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wish someone would be making a geometric shape from this.
Yes. And also balancing as many nails here.
balancing these nails.
Who is there?
Here.
So this is mainly for primary learners.
Even high school, when they come to Somerset, they do enjoy.
Not necessarily.
Primary education.
A lot. There are very many mathematical concepts.
I know you're well advanced in secondary, but primary maybe.
It is the same thing. When we
have a program where students have been coming to Somerset.
What happened?
Enjoy most of this.
Try again.
What happened? There's the same number in each line, so one cannot get.
No.
It has failed to work.
So you think critically, if it didn't work, so which means this doesn't work, how else?
So you need to think and you can see.
Even if you count the number of rows, even this side. So fitting.
Okay.
So that's why the teacher needs to do the practical first.
Yes.
Okay, before the children. Before you do
You need to plan.
Very embarrassed. And you start sweating,
yes.
And the PS also.
Let's see.
Leta hiyo. Naona vile imetosha vizuri. Thinking. Look at the pattern that has brought it out.
Normally. Try to make a geometric shape.
Now this one.
So it's 5.
Somesha.
Haya.
Somesha.
You are much welcome. Our first thing, we are issuing questionnaires to our clients so that
the next act that we need to amend so that it goes into the CBC. So we are giving these questionnaires to our clients in filling, then they return. That is one thing. Yeah, if I have a copy, thank you so much. Again, we are displaying our questions and answers and the correct answers for the 2021. 2022 is not yet out. So we're waiting. Once it's out, we have our conference. Still go giving our stakeholders so that they get to know the correct answer as opposed to what they are getting from outside. Some questions are marking scheme. That is okay. We still have KCSE 2021 questions and marking schemes plus the report. What we give the feedback report that goes to our stakeholders. That is both primary.
How much are you selling?
This is 400.
What type of reports will you give for CBC?
It's exactly this one, but those ones will go right here, focus. They'll be exactly the same, but now the areas are will be different. So this one is about examinations, which are just subjective.
But this is done after the result.
Yes, after the result.
So you have to make the work and then after that you go on the yes.
The second one is what are areas of examinations that you want to emphasize on? Because this one is more merit.
Yes. The practical approach. Yes.
So in Kepsha, you are not telling people these were the right answer because we shall be going to dangerous places.
In Kepsha, it's like the parent, the teacher, and the assessors kind of coming together.
Now the PS is asking about the last evaluation you have done. The last
the assessment.
The assessment
the 40%.
What type of report are you going to generate out of that assessment?
I may not go back, I may not deeper to the detail about it. Yeah,
what type of reports? Are you from test development?
No. Yeah.
You're from which department?
I'm from publications. Publications. I don't want to go to details of the test developer. The test developer will give you
what is the report that you are going to generate.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're welcome.
Yeah.